Today we're going to be talking about multiplication properties of exponents. First, we need to talk about a monomial. A monomial is a number, variable, or product of a number and one or more variable with non-negative exponents. And then a constant is a monomial that is a real number. So in this first example, we need to determine whether each expression is a monomial. Write yes or no. Explain your reasoning in a complete sentence. Mono means one. So one, this really means one term. So looking at this, I have 17 minus c. This is a no. There are two terms. Full sentence, capitalize your sentence. Okay, now here I have 8f squared and g. Yes. Okay. Yes, there's only one term to this monomial. Yes, for this next one. Okay, why? Because this is a constant or just a number. Okay, constant, monomial, that is a real number. 3/4, that's a real number. Okay, and then 5 over t, no. The t is in the denominator. So I just want you to think about this. I used the idea that there's two terms. There's one term. Okay, for D, there's one term here, but you can't have any variables in the denominator of that fraction. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, I want to prove to you guys some different properties we have here. And I want to kind of discover these with you. If we were in class and I was teaching this in person, we would kind of discover these in class together. But this is a video. So x squared, well, that's x times x. X to the fourth is x times x times x times x. So I want you to think about, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's. So that's really x to the 6th. 2 plus 4 is 6. For this next one, I have x to the 3rd 4 times. So I have x to the 3rd times x to the 3rd times by x to the 3rd times by x to the 3rd again. 4 times. Now let's look at this. Okay, x to the 3rd, well, that's x times x times x. This x to the 3rd, x times x times x. This x to the 3rd, x times x times x. And lastly, the last one, x times x times x. So how many x's do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's x to the 12th. How does 12 relate? 12 is the product. And then here, this next one, I have x to the 3rd, y to the 4th, times by x to the 3rd, y to the 4th. Okay, so I have the product of those two things. Well, okay, x to the 3rd, well, that's x times x times x. Y to the 4th, well, that's y times y times y. Ooh, times y. And I have 2 of those. I'm going to run out of space here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I didn't. Okay. So how many x's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have x to the 6th for the y's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. y to the 8th. Okay. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. So let's talk about our properties. Okay, and this is something that's really important. You're going to be using this for years. Okay, product of powers. So when you have the same base, okay, A is your base. When you have the same base, how you can combine these is you just add the powers together. And that was this first example here, where I have 2 and 4, that adds to be 6. And then I have A to the M to the P. Let's look at that. 3 to the 4th power. What did I get? I got 12. So that is M times P. And then this last one, I kind of talked about it. The 2 gets distributed to everything inside. So that means this is A to the M times by B to the M. Okay, so simplifying this. The 12 is nothing to be multiplied to, so the 12 just hangs out. R to the 4th, I'm going to change my color. R to the 4th, R to the 7th. R to the 4th times R to the 7th. You add those exponents. 4 plus 7, I don't know why I can't do that in my head. Oh, Marnell. R to the 11th. Now here, 6 times 5, well, that's 30. C to the 1st times by C to the 5th, add your exponents, so that's C to the 6th. D to the 5th times D squared, add your exponents, 5 plus 2, well, that's 7. Okay, even more. I tried to come up with some more challenging examples for us. So multiply the 2 times the negative 3 times the 4. So 2 times the negative 3 is a negative 6 times by a negative 4, well, that's a positive 24. X squared, x, and x to the 3rd. Add all your exponents. 2 plus 1 plus 3, that's x to the 6th. Add the exponents on your y's. There's a y here. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Okay, now here I have a power to a power. So again, this 2 goes and becomes an exponent on everything you see there. So even the 4, that is a common mistake, is that the 4 doesn't get the power 2. 4 does get the power 2. So 4 squared is 16. X squared. And then this is a power to a power, so I multiply those, I get 32. Again, another one of those. Start in blue. Okay, so negative 2 to the 3rd power, m to the 4th to the 3rd power, n to the 5th to the 3rd power, p to the 7th to the 3rd power. So 2 to the 3rd power, negative 2 times negative 2 times by negative 2, that's going to be a negative 8. M, you multiply those powers together. Multiply the 5 times the 3. For the p, multiply the 7 times the 3. Okay, another one. So here, again, the 3 gets distributed. There's like a -1 there. So -1 to the third, x to the third, y to the third to the third. Okay, times by our other term, -2 to the third, y to the third, x to the third to the third. Okay, so now I simplify. -1 to the third, well, that's -1. Times by x to the third, y to the third, power to a power. I multiply those powers. -2 to the third, well, we just did that. That was -8. Times by y to the third, x to the third to the third, x to the 9th. Now, multiply the common items together. So, -1 times 8 is a +8. I'm multiplying x to the third times x to the 9th. That means I add the exponents. So that's x to the 12th. And lastly, y to the 9th, y to the third. Again, add your exponents. You get y to the 12th. Ooh, this is a really good one. Okay, so, oh, this is a lot of fun. Okay, 3 goes to the 1/2 as a power. And make sure that you write that correctly. And then I have a squared to the third, b squared to the third. Times by, okay, so now here, I have a power to a power there. Let's be efficient. I was actually, when I wrote this, I was going to do this a different way. So here I have -4, b, power to a power, I multiply them. Okay, so I have 1/2 to the third power is 1/8. Multiply those exponents. Multiply those. Multiply these exponents. And now I have -4 to the 4th and b to the 4th. Okay, so I have -1/8 times by a -4 to the 4th. I want to make sure I did that right. I'm just doing this in my calculator. I apologize. Okay, so this turns into 256 over 1. A has nothing to combine with. B has b to the 5th to the 4th. You're going to want to add those exponents because I'm multiplying. And then in my calculator, I do 256 divided by 8. And my total answer, making sure I didn't lose a negative sign, is that. Okay? So that is our video on multiplying exponents.